All right, Steelers Nation. Second game on Fox in 2 weeks. Second game of Tom Brady on the call, and I'm not sure what that man does to us, but drives me insane. Uh, Second or back-to-back 14-plus point losses hasn't happened since before Ben was around. Um, this game started off very good. I was very happy with where we were. We were tied 7-7 in the first quarter. Or head into the second quarter, we scored our touchdown to tie it up. Defense made a stop. We had the ball back. We were driving. And then Russ, 36-year-old quarterback with his backup out, decides that he needs to take a run at it and go to the goal line without sliding. Goes headfirst into a beast and fumbles the ball. I've heard a lot of people say, Steelers, Ravens, you got to leave it on the line, but you're a 36-year-old quarterback, dude, get down. I mean, points are at a premium generally in these games, and even if you don't get in the end zone, you get a field goal and you go up by 3 points at least. But we turn it over, ball's headed back the other way. They got to go 96 yards, and for some reason we can't. We can't stop. Can't stop the running back, whatever his name is. Derrick Henry had a game against us. That was kind of ridiculous. Also, Lamar Jackson kind of had a decent passing drive as well. Then we come back out with a shitty drive, 3 plays, no yards. Punt the ball away. They go back and kick the field goal, go up 17-7. Before the half, we do put some points on the board, make it 10-17. Coming out of the second half, we get the ball and shit it away in 3 plays. But luckily, the defense can hold and stop them, get them to punt it back to us. We go the other way, and we tie it up, 17-17. Baltimore's next ensuing drive in the third quarter, they take it down to a minute 50, and they go up 7. Another wasn't necessarily long drive, six plays, 60 yards. You got to hope your defense can hold there, but another touchdown. But we get the ball back. Drive that stalls out after 16 yards, 6 plays, punt it back to them. And then the thing everybody's been waiting for, Minkah Fitzpatrick to have a big, huge splash play, finally gets it, gets us back up, going the other way. We start the next drive, I want to say at 33, little run there, and then I'm not sure what the hell Russell Wilson was thinking on that next throw. Looked like Pat was open in the middle, but, I mean, you're getting rushed out of the pocket, and, just throw it away. You don't need to throw that across your body. Gets picked off and taken back the other way, so now you're down 2 touchdowns when you could theoretically still be driving. And then you get another decent drive, 7 plays. I mean, we didn't get too far. We got to the 50, and it's just bad, not necessarily bad play calling, but you got to finish these drives. 4th and 12 at 50-yard line. You would have liked to have gone for that, but I mean, 12 yards, you can't be going for it on 12 yards. So get it back to them. They get a field goal, and that's the way the game ends, essentially, 17-34. There's a lot of things that could be corrected. Offensively, I'm not really sure what the game plan was here. Russell Wilson, 22 of 33 for 217. Not a bad game by him, except for the 2 costly turnovers. And I mean, those essentially led to the difference in the game. I mean, you got to hope the defense can stop a 96-yard drive, but at the same time, just get down, dude. You got to get down there. Not sure why Jaylen Warren is seeing more touches and snaps than Najee. I think it was 40-17 was the discrepancy here. I don't know if they're saving Najee for later, but he had a decent game. Probably one of his best rushing of the year, 4.7 yards per carry. I mean, Jalen's wasn't bad. He had a 4-yard average as well, but we didn't establish the run like we normally would. 21 carries is all we had. Russell had 3. I'm assuming most of those are scrambles. Receiving game, I'm not sure why Kelvin Austin is getting the most targets. You got Pat out there. Pat needs to be getting more than 3 targets, especially when you're down your top wide receiver. Um, but, we had Cordell Patterson get a catch for a touchdown, and then McCole Pruitt, kind of weird Falcon game for us here. Defensively, it wasn't a bad game defensively, and a lot of people are like, well, they gave up so many points. But, Terrell Austin's defense has never really been, we've held teams to low-scoring games, but it's never been a stop them at all costs. It's been the defense has always been an opportunistic defense, that gets big turnovers, big sacks to end drives that may have been longer and, may have gotten to the 40-yard line, but, we get a big sack and we take them back. Looking at the sack numbers, you got one from Alex Highsmith. Is that it? 1 sack on the game. You need more of those. You got that big splash play from Minka, finally with the one INT. But we couldn't capitalize on it, and Baltimore had, I want to say, at least 3 fumbles that we didn't capitalize, we didn't recover. I've said it for years that this is an opportunistic defense that does hold teams to low outputs and points, but that's because they capitalize. They capitalize on other teams' mistakes, and we couldn't do that. We couldn't pick up the ball when they put it on the ground, and unfortunately, we put it on the ground, and they did pick it up. And we turned it over. They took advantage of those turnovers. You can't let that happen, especially this time of year. Like I said in last week's video, there's a handful of teams that are better than the Steelers, or not if as good as the Steelers, and Baltimore is one of those teams, and you can't give them those opportunities to show why they're a better team than you are. But, we head into another game on Christmas Day where it's, essentially the same thing. It's another team that is either as good or better than the Steelers, and we have to capitalize on mistakes, and we can't give them any mistakes, or else it's going to be another game like this. But we'll see. It all sounds like everybody that's injured could be back at this point. Haven't really heard much about Joey Porter Jr. That's a big loss. Deshaun Elliott was a big loss to begin with. You can't be down your top 2 corners. We're down 3/4 of our secondary in that game, and it shows. You got 2 guys out there, and one that basically just came back from injury, and the other guy that just came back from a suspension. So I'm not going to fault the defense. Each side of the ball has blame that they can take. You can't be sloppy at this time of year. You have to capitalize on mistakes and take advantage of what the other team's giving you. And we did not do that. Derrick Henry had an amazing game. Jesus Christ, 162, 24 yards, or 24 carries, 44-yard run. Lamar Jackson had probably his best passing game against us in his career. But, it's another one of those games where, did they hurt us? Yes, but we hurt ourselves more. So we're on to Kansas City. You close out the year with 2 wins. You get that home playoff game. You don't have to close it out with 2 wins. You just have to match what Baltimore does week by week. But I don't want to go on the road in playoffs. Most likely matchup would be Houston, which I guess isn't that bad of a road playoff game. But you want to give those fans at Heinz Acrisure Stadium a chance to see a decent game after the impressive year they've put together. So I'll see you probably the day after Christmas, if not later. Let's go Steelers. Well, how was everyone's Christmas out there? Mine was pretty shitty, as you may gather. We had a home game against Kansas City, our 3rd game in 11 days against top opponents in both the AFC and NFC. This was the gauntlet that ended at home. Started off the game kind of rough. First 2 drives had a total of 8 plays for a yard. And by the time we got the ball back for a 3rd time, we were down 13 points. Kansas City had scored 2 touchdowns on their opening drive. And then we got things going a little bit in the ensuing drive after the second touchdown. Had what we thought was a walk-in touchdown from Jalen Warren. But there was, it was a holding, but doesn't necessarily need to be called. I don't think so. It was on the outside, and it was just kind of the way the play went, but whatever. Back it up 10 yards from where we were, so you got 2nd and 14 from the 18, and Russell threw into triple coverage. There's a lot of talk about Pickens not running the right route or whatever, but even if he does run a deep fly on that, all you're doing is taking one guy out of there. So maybe he doesn't throw the interception, but it's not a completion. It was a bad throw by Russell. So on to the next couple of drives. After the interception, we stopped him. 3 and out. Got the ball back, drove down the field, put some points on the board before half. And then we just kind of ended there. Halftime we went in 13-7, feeling kind of good, especially the way the game was going. It wasn't necessarily the way we wanted it to turn out, but you can't complain with the way you were playing that first half to be only down 13-7. Third quarter came out. We both had some pretty big sustained drives. Both ending in field goals, so you're still down 6, headed into the fourth quarter. That's when the wheels started to come off. They obviously had the ball headed from the third quarter into the fourth quarter, scored a touchdown towards the end of that, and then we're headed down the field again. We got a 3rd and 15, complete pass to Freiermuth, and then he fumbled the ball. They returned it, took it back the other way for another touchdown to put themselves back up, to put them up 29-10. The game snowballed in the fourth quarter. The third straight game that we've held our own for 3 quarters against really good teams, and then it fell apart in the fourth quarter. Russell had a rough game, had a bad game. Russell was 23 of 37 for 205 with 1 pick, no touchdowns. Clearly one of his worst games of the season. Najee Harris had another good game. 20-yard run from him, 22-yard long from Jalen Warren, both over 5.5 yards per carry. Not sure why we went away from the run game like we did. Passing game, Pat got involved a little bit more. 7 receptions for him, 3 for George, 5 for Jalen again. The talent is there. We just keep shooting ourselves in the foot. We can't have, the one drive where we're going down to, take the lead and not take the lead, but to at least make it manageable. And we would have had the lead at halftime had everything went the way it would. But we killed ourselves there. And then we had the fumble in the second half that, hurt us a lot. A lot of rumblings about the defense, about a man on an island by himself. Tomlin has addressed that this week early in his press conference, saying that he sat the defensive team down the day after the game, aired the grievances, and hopefully everything will be dissipated and everything like that. Not sure who it was. There's been speculations it's Minka. There's been speculations it's Sutton. I'm not really sure why Sutton's still seeing the field. He's not. I don't think he's better than Beanie. Beanie was a spark plug early on in the season, and then he hasn't even seen the field since Cam came back. And Cam he's not the guy he was when he played for us 2 years ago and, before the whole thing happened and shook out Detroit. But the defense, once again, another game against a high talented team where we didn't take care. The offense didn't take care of the ball, and the defense didn't make the big splash plays that they have in the past. There was no interceptions. I don't even think we had any fumbles lost. They didn't have any fumbles lost. There was no turnovers in the game for us. So that's something I've said all along. Everyone wants to bag on this defense. They're not a good defense. They give up so much stuff and blah 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 blah. But it's always been an opportunity for defense. I don't blame Austin. I don't blame Tomlin for this. We're just not getting our big plays that we normally get, and that's going to happen with your good teams. And you got to have an offense that can help you out in that instance where your defense is just holding them. But shit, they held them to 16 points for the first 3 quarters. You have to score more than 10 points to win a game. We're back to where we were with Kenny and Matt Canada, where we're not scoring any points. And Russell, I mean, he came in, he's had some good games, he's had some bad games. I hope we don't throw a bag at him this offseason because he's not worth it. He can't see the middle of the field. Anything intermediate over the middle, he's not hitting. He's going check downs, and deep balls. Nothing crossing, no crossing, anything like that. You watch the NFL today, a lot of it's crossing routes. You got to find those. You got to hit those. I hope we take time to evaluate Justin, what he did this season, sitting and watching, because even before he sat and watched Russell play the way Russell plays, he was pretty good. Hopefully we can bring them both back and see where we're at with that. But we're on to Cincinnati. We got a night game on Saturday night to, hopefully seal up the 5 seed for sure. Otherwise, Lord willing, the Browns take care of business before us on Saturday and beat the Ravens. But I doubt that's going to happen. I think they opened up at like a 15-point underdog, but we'll see. Headed into the playoffs we can't be down about these games. It was 3 tough opponents, and we held our own for the most part until the fourth quarter, where we got shellacked in the fourth quarter. So we're on to Cincinnati, and we're on to the playoffs, and we'll see what happens there.